Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Madden 19 video. Today, we're going to be looking specifically at gameplay, the old gameplay that we got around EA Play, some of the leaks, the iffy looking gameplay, and the it's every video. And the gameplay that came out today from a lot of other YouTubers. Now, the gameplay is definitely very different. Stuff that we've seen before is choppy, big, bulky, not smooth. And the gameplay that I have seen so far looks a lot better. It actually looks very similar to Madden 18. I think it looks more similar to 18 now than it did before. But I'm gonna go over some of the similarities and some of the differences and let you guys know what I think. As always, for all the videos that I'm gonna be using, the channel links will be in the description, so make sure you check them out. So something right off the bat that I wanna talk about is the player builds. A massive complaint in this early gameplay footage that we had was the player builds looked completely messed up. I think most of us can tell when looking at this gameplay, but the player builds now look completely fine. Offensive linemen look like offensive linemen. Bigger offensive linemen that are 6'8" don't look like they have the same build as someone who's 6'3". A short running back who's 5'11" doesn't have the same build as a middle linebacker who's 6'5". Essentially, the builds of the players look correct, and that was a major thing with the graphics. It looked like every single person had the same big and bulky build, which now that that is fixed, the graphics definitely have taken a massive improvement, a massive step up. Something else that I could tell was fixed is the shoulder pads. On a lot of quarterbacks, for some reason, the shoulder pads were just, unbelievably high. They were like raised and kind of like bulging out. Now the shoulder pads look to be fixed. Again, these were things that EA said would be fixed by final build and launch, and so far all of these things have been fixed. There's definitely some things that have not been fixed that I will talk about later in the video, but so far everything EA said has been true. No, to not really trust their word 100% of the time, but they've definitely been correct on these statements. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is something to do with the actual gameplay and the mechanics and the way the players move. From what I've seen, the ball carrier moves like the spin and the juke and those types of plays have seemed to be buffed or enhanced, or maybe the one cut is just not nearly as effective as it once was. When I played at EA Play and when I played the beta, the one cut was like the only way you could get around players. It seemed like the jukes and the spins were just not good at all. They were kind of like Madden 17, but now it seems like the jukes and the spins have definitely been increased. I haven't seen anybody do any hurdles, but I'm interested to see what that looks like. The one cut looks like it's really used to hit the hole when you're running the football or make like an intense cut. But if you need to make a quick spin move or a quick juke move, I've also seen a juke move pair with a one cut, so it looks kind of like a double juke, which is absolutely sick. It just seems like the ball carrier moves have been buffed, which is definitely good. It creates variety in how you can move the football on offense. Now, something that hasn't been fixed is something that I don't think will be fixed, and someone left a very insightful comment on this. I'll be sure to put it on the screen right now if I can find it, but essentially I talked about in my last video how the game seemed to have like a dark hue or a dark tint over it. And a lot of people agreed with me on that. They said the game just looked really dark compared to Madden 18 or even Madden 17. With 18 and 17, it just seemed a lot brighter. Now, I haven't seen anybody play in like any really bright or highly lit stadiums or maybe at night or something like that. Maybe it'll look different then, but essentially, it's looked like a very dark game, and just me personally, I don't really like that. Someone left a comment saying essentially that the old engine that we were playing on made it so that the builds looked a lot lighter and a lot brighter, and this newer Frostbite engine makes it to where everything looks darker. I don't know if there's any merit to that statement, but I'm not a fan of that. I'm just going to be completely honest with you guys. I'm not a fan of the dark looking gameplay. I might, I don't know, put like a saturation increase or brightness increase on my gameplays when I start to put them out when Madden 19 comes out, but the gameplay, the look, the graphics are fine, but like the color is just, it's too dark for me. Hopefully I can find a stadium to where everything looks a little bit brighter. If I can do that, that's obviously going to be a massive W, but that is something that has not been fixed from those early builds to the build that's out today. Another thing that doesn't really seem to be fixed is the kicks and the punt returns. From what I've seen, the players that are actually returning the football seem extremely slow compared to the players that are defending the person returning, if that makes sense. So like when you catch the ball off of a punt return or you catch the ball off of a kick return, your running seems, for one, weird. It seems like when you're running, like you're doing mini high steps or something like that. And it also seems like you're really slow, which I don't really understand exactly why you seem so slow, especially compared to the people trying to tackle you. It seems like their lateral speed compared to your lateral speed is like completely different. Like they're on a 2x multiplier or something like that. That is something that's strange. I have yet to see a kick return or punt return. If you guys have seen it, make sure to link me on Twitter. It just definitely seems weird, and it's not something that has been fixed, which means I doubt it will be fixed. It's just probably going to be the type of gameplay we're going to have for kick and punt returns this year. So I've said this for multiple years now. You probably just don't want to return it if you're playing competitively and you want to win. You don't want to risk a fumble, and you're probably not going to get a kick return. So you might as well just fair catch it almost every time. Now, one thing that has been improved upon in this final build that I have seen so far is the block sheds in the offensive line. Something that was unbelievably annoying in the EA Play build and in the beta was that anytime you ran the ball, I mean, you had to get perfect blocks. If you did it, that defensive line will be coming through and getting you in the backfield almost immediately. It was extremely frustrating, and it made it very difficult to actually run the ball effectively. Now, me personally, I don't really like playing games where I constantly run the ball. If I'm playing competitively and I want to win, obviously I'm going to keep the ball on the ground because I can't throw a pick that way. But running the ball in these early builds was not great. I wasn't a fan. I didn't like it. I like the mechanics of running, but actually running the ball effectively wasn't great. From what I've seen in these current builds, the final build that's going to come out on launch day, it seems like running the ball is a lot easier. There's not as many insta sheds, and the offensive line seems to have a little bit of a buff. Something that I've noticed in looking at these two builds is that the out routes still seem to be extremely nice and extremely crispy. No one has had any red chems that have helped them run out routes any better. These have been mostly reg teams. But the out routes, not only do they look crispy, but they look smooth. It seems to be like it's not just like a sharp cut, but it is a sharp cut at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense, but they seem to be really good. And this was something that was a factor in the early builds at EA Play and in the beta. And it's definitely still a thing now, so I think out routes are still going to be extremely effective. Now, from what I've understood, defensive adjustments, shading on the outside and shading on the inside is actually a thing this year. So if you shade to the outside and you throw an out route, it's probably going to get intercepted, so you'll probably have to read that then. You might not be able to throw on the break if your opponent keeps shading outside, but the out routes are crispy. I like them. They're smooth. I'm definitely a fan of the movement on the out routes so far. The next thing that I want to talk about is not so much gameplay, but it looks like the cutscenes and the halftime and just like the scenes in between different plays, I guess that's a cutscene, have been improved. They look a lot nicer, so anybody that does a lot of franchise or a lot of play now, or I don't know if they show up as much on online head-to-head or even in MUTs, but these scenes are a lot better looking. They look really, really good. The graphics look absolutely insane on there, so that's definitely improvement, something that we did not see in the early builds. They probably saved that for last, I'm assuming something like that, but the cutscenes, the halftime, it looks sick. I'm not gonna lie, it looks really cool. And for content creators, that's obviously a big plus. For any of my sim guys, anyone that likes to play CFM, that is obviously a really, really cool factor in the game that is now there in this final build. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Those are some of the things that I saw that were similarities between these two builds and were some massive differences between these two builds. Yes, there's a lot of things that they fixed that I'm extremely happy about. And yes, there's a lot of things that they did not fix whatsoever that were actually extremely annoying, and I'll be excited to see them possibly fix it later on down the line. If they don't, you know what? Okay, just make sure you give me good MUT content. Also, this is the final build, the launch build, but on day one, when the game actually comes out, they will be reviewing everybody's thoughts and opinions and releasing another patch just in case there's some bugs that could have possibly happened. I know the run pass glitch was actually a thing in the beta, at least I'm pretty sure it was, and I know that that was fixed. I know that's fixed for a fact, and I'm just excited to get my hands on the game. I think the game is coming out in like a week or 2 weeks. I do have an Xbox One, but I don't really play on Xbox, so I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna do that this year. If I'm gonna upload MUT content on the Xbox or PS4, it'll probably be the PS4, but I'll try to get some gameplay up on the Xbox. But either way, that is it for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, make sure to drop a like down below. Subscribe if you are new. And guys, I'll see you in my next upload. Peace.